All right, the time is 7 o'clock, and I'll call the June 26, 2018 meeting of Millcreek Township Board of Supervisors to order. Would you all please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on our agenda is public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Would anyone care to address the board regarding this evening's agenda? Hearing none. Next is the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the June 12th meeting minutes?
Yeah, I'll move to approve those minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the approval of the bills. Is there a motion to approve the bills?
Yes, I'll move to pay those bills as listed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is bids and quotations. The first is the announcement and award of Sidewalk Accessibility Project Phase 6 from the Planning and Development Department. Mr. Waldinger.
Good evening. Bids were solicited for Phase 6 of the Millcreek Township Sidewalk Accessibility Project, and the bid opening was held at 3 p.m. on June 21st, 2018. Only one company submitted a timely bid, and that was Russell Standard Corporation of Union City, PA, for the amount of $307,850. While this bid was above the amount budgeted for this project in 2018, the contract allows for the township to reduce the number of ramps included in the contract for any reason, including financial constraints. The Planning and Development Department will reduce the ramps to be completed to stay within the amount budgeted for this year, which is roughly $200,000. This amount is comprised of $181,400 in federal community development block grant funds, $15,000 that the township budgeted for this line item, and some bid savings from other ADA accessibility contracts that have been awarded this year. The contractor has been contacted and is aware that the township intends to invoke this provision of the contract. The reduction will result in approximately 80 ramps being completed under this contract, which will include all ramps required due to 2018 paving projects. These ramps, combined with the 64 ramps being done under the outside paving contracts awarded several weeks ago, will enable the township to meet its minimum quota of 110 ramps per year and the total of 824 ramps completed by the end of 2018 as specified by the consent decree. In addition, the township will remain on target to complete the sidewalk accessibility project by the mandated date of December 31st, 2022. The Planning and Development Department recommends awarding the contract to Russell Standard Corporation for the bid amount of $307,850 with adjustments to be made to the number of ramps to keep the project within the 2018 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Waldinger. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just a quick question, Matt. The other contractors, they had no bid. Did they give a reason? Did they? Not that we have to compel them for an answer, but
we had one
busy?
bidder who arrived to the table late, so their bid was discounted.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. The other bidders had no bids. In speaking with them, it kind of was revealed that they are tied up with other projects and that they wouldn't be able to complete our project in time for the paving deadline.
That time of year. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the bid of Russell Standard Corporation for $307,850 for the Phase 6 Sidewalk Accessibility Project?
Yeah, I'll move to award as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 2018-R24, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20 in the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. This evening, gentlemen, we'll be voting to approve the disposition of MPD dash cam videos once they reach essentially their maturity dates between the dates of June 27th, 2018, and July 10th, 2018, once they reach their expiration dates, essentially. Any questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2018-R24?
Yeah, I'll move to approve that resolution 2018-R24 with all of the items listed pursuant to that resolution.
All right, Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
I'm sorry, is there a second?
Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
apologize.
I'll second, sir.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is Resolution 2018-R25, a resolution to adopt a travel reimbursement policy for the township. Mrs. Zakrzewski, do you want to give a brief overview of the policy?
Yes, well, a little bit of background. The township currently doesn't have a formal written policy. We've got an informal policy, actually two different policies. One of them arose out of the police contract where their expenses are handled on a per diem basis. Everybody else is handled on a receipt basis. For uniformity's sake, we're going to establish a per diem reimbursement arrangement similar to what is allowed under, it is exactly what's allowed under the GSA program. There's different specific areas in the state that are listed with per day amounts for meals. Hotels don't need to be reasonable, that kind of thing. So also too, there's mileage and reimbursement. We've got a separate form now for local travel versus going out of town for a seminar or whatever the case may be. And they're all fillable PDFs, so they don't have to, you know.
Makes sense. Any questions or comments from the board? Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2018-R25?
Yes, I'll move to approve resolution 2018-R25.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2018-R25, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Millcreek approving the fiscal year 2018 to fiscal year 2022 consolidated plan and the fiscal year 2018 action plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Mr. Morgan, you indicated 25, it's actually R26.
Oh, I apologize, R26. Mr. Waldinger, any?
No comments, actually, other than the plan has been open for public review. We've received various comments from public. Erie County Department of Planning has been managing this program for us and running the consolidated plan as well as the 2018 action plan. I would recommend approval.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Nope.
No?
Sounds like we're on track.
All right, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2018-R26?
Yes, I'll move to approve resolution 2018-R26.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2018-R27, a resolution to adopt a township identification policy. Matt Exley, our Director of Code Enforcement and Emergency Management, had been developing this policy and procedure. I believe he's unavailable on a call at the moment. Briefly, gentlemen, it's a policy to establish that township employees will be issued
There he is, right there.
ID badges that they'll be required to wear at all times, or at least have on their persons at all times, depending on situations, during business hours of the township. I believe the board's reviewed that. All of our directors have reviewed this. Were there any questions or comments about the policy and procedures for the ID badge policy?
Nope.
Matt's just getting here.
Mr. Shawna, you had a comment about it.
Yeah, with respect to the actual resolution language itself, in paragraph 3, since the procedures have been developed, currently the draft indicates that they would be developed and submitted by July 3rd, but since we have them developed and they're ready to go, I would suggest that paragraph 3 be modified to reflect that the identification procedures have been developed and are attached hereto as Exhibit A and shall be effective immediately.
Is everyone comfortable with that?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 28R27 as amended?
Yes, I'll move to approve Resolution 2018-R27 as amended per the advice of the solicitor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bogdan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item on our agenda is the 2018 roadway maintenance and improvement program amendment. Gentlemen, we had previously approved this year's paving program for years 2018 and 2019. Since that time, we actually secured a $200,000, essentially $200,000 grant from PennDOT to perform the Cherry Street Extension paving project, which has freed up local revenues for additional paving. Mr. Snyder has recommended that we actually reallocate those funds to the East Grandview project that was supposed to be done next year, but to actually move that up in the schedule. I don't know if there was any questions or comments regarding that amendment.
No, well, one question. The East Grandview is in close proximity to where we're going to be paving anyway, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're going to be doing Conrad Road, a couple of streets in through there. So this will be actually, if it's approved, one less move for the company that's doing the paving.
Okay. It makes sense from a logistical standpoint as well.
Right.
That's all I had.
I would just like to add that this shows that through, that even though we have a plan, that it can be amended, and this one worked out for the better for everybody, that, we had a little bit of a windfall of extra money to do another street. And, hopefully that can continue, in successive years, but as we know, there's always things that change, conditions change, and even though we have a tentative plan for next year, we hope it can continue that way and even maybe add a street or two onto it. So it is something that's, I think, in perpetual motion at all times. So anyway, I support the idea.
If I could, just real quick, Mr. Snyder, does this trigger any additional ramps, curb ramps? I don't recall that there's any sidewalks there, but I just thought I'd ask.
No, it does not.
Okay.
Okay.
With that, is there a motion to approve the amendment to the roadway maintenance and improvement program?
Yes, I'll move to approve that ordinance, or that change to the plan.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item on our agenda is communications. Treasurer communications. Mr. Krzyzewski, anything?
Just one small thing. We received a communication from our insurance broker with respect to health insurance, and I'm currently evaluating its impact. It's asking for a multi-year agreement, but in exchange they're offering incentives, one of which is not changing one of the administration rates, but still in the process of evaluating it. I'll have a recommendation at a future date.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you, Mark. Next is summer staff approval from the Parks and Recreation Department. Mr. Groh?
Yes, I have a request here from Ashley Marsteller, Director of the Parks Department. She would like to have the following employee approval for the summer season 2018. This is a payroll for seasonal employees included in the department budget. There's a list of, it looks like 8 employees, varying in wage from $7.65 to $8.45. These are all new hire people. So I put that in the form of a motion to approve their hirings for the season, the summer season, that is.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is executive sessions. I just want to announce to the public that the board did hold 2 executive sessions, one on June 14th and one on June 21st. Those are meetings with our solicitor and executive staff to discuss various legal and personnel-related issues. Next is a training request from the Planning and Development Department.
Township Engineer Ann Sokol has requested that Engineering Inspector Rob Donikowski attend a one-day workshop on preparing contract documents for construction projects that will be held July 18th in Coriopolis, PA, which is just next to the Pittsburgh Airport. The tuition for the class is $279. The department asks that Mr. Donikowski be provided with a township vehicle for travel and paid time to attend. No overnight accommodations are requested. I would recommend that that be approved. Managing contracts is something that our department does quite a bit. It would be helpful to have additional staff trained in order to do so. And I want to include that the $279 is in our training budget for 2018.
Any questions from the board?
Good idea.
Is there a motion to approve the travel request?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the travel request as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Grove?
Vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the MPD requests. Mr. Bach?
Okay, I have 4 requests here from Chief Scott Height. The first one is permission to provide a conditional offer of probationary employment to a Mackenzie Kranz. Kranz is currently the top candidate on the eligibility list. Beginning date for Mackenzie Kranz will be June 29th of 2018. I met Mr. Kranz and did a little background check on my own, and he appears to be a really good candidate. So very fortunate to have him on board. So I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Second one is Patrolman Katrina Cool. Was on her probationary period, and looks like as of June 19th of this year, she has fulfilled all of her requirements for that probationary period, so requesting that she be advanced to the Class D patrol officer status. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, that's retroactive to June 19th.
June 19th, correct. That must be when her probationary period had ended, so
Okay.
about a week ago.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Third request is for training, permission to have 6 members of the tactical team attend a conference in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Total cost $6,633.62. Travel for all 6 members would be by 2 department vehicles, and these costs will be reimbursed by the Northwest PA Emergency Response Group, PEMA. So there will be no cost to the township. Put that in the form of a motion.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
The last request is for a 1 member to attend a leadership seminar up in Niagara Falls, New York in October. Estimated costs with registration, lodging, tolls, and mileage and expenses, $1,069.25. I asked Chief Height about this because I wasn't familiar with the training, and he said other officers have attended this in the past. It is a command staff type seminar. A couple of our, I believe, lieutenants have attended in the past, and it's very worthwhile. Nothing but rave reviews for it, so Chief Height feels this is an important seminar for them to attend, and so I will put that in the form of a motion as well.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a 4th of July announcement. So that's you, Mr. Exley.
First, I'd like to apologize to the board for my tardiness. I had to handle an issue at one of our code enforcement properties. We wanted to just take this moment to address 2 of the things that are happening on the 4th of July. The first is the Millcreek 4th of July parade. It will take place in the same route that it has for the last 53 years along West 12th Street. The roadway will begin to be shut down approximately about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and the parade starts at 9:45 a.m. Generally, it's over around noon. There will be some limited access to neighborhoods in that area. The residents in those neighborhoods will be notified, as we do every year, and we will provide access as best we can throughout that area. But we encourage everybody to come out and enjoy the Millcreek 4th of July parade. It's a great tradition that's been going on. The second thing is we'd just like to bring up really quick, speak about fireworks in the township. There's been a little bit of communication and confusion in regards to the new state law that's out there. While the new state law does permit fireworks to be purchased and possessed and used by Pennsylvania residents, because of our density within the township, how many homes we have close together, there are very few areas in the township where you would actually legally be able to light those off. The reason for that is there's some restrictions in the new law that were built in, including not being able to ignite or discharge on public or private property without the owner's permission, including not firing at vehicles, people, or buildings, which you would think would be common sense, but apparently not. And the biggest thing that affects the township is it cannot be discharged, consumer fireworks cannot be discharged within 150 feet of an occupied structure, which is defined as any structure that could potentially be occupied. So we kind of did a little evaluation of that, and there really are very few places in the township. So we'd like to caution folks, just don't use consumer fireworks this year, although they are allowed in other areas of the Commonwealth. You're not going to find many areas in the township that you can achieve those restrictions, and go out and see the ones with professionals doing it and be safe.
Thank you, Mr. Exler.
I just have two quick comments here. Matt, first of all, in regards to the parade, I know we have repeat people that have lived on the south side of 12th Street that have been told that the exit for them to get out is over at Shank Avenue,
That's correct.
and that's still the same?
Yes.
Shank Avenue. So if you live south of 12th Street, please head over to Shank Avenue. You will be let out there. The police officers are there. If they're not, they will be over there to let you out. So I just want to emphasize that. I may sound a little bit redundant, but I have to because we do have a particular situation. The other thing is I heard 2 commercials today on the radio within like 30 seconds about the fireworks, 2 different companies. Boy, it sounds like it's a grand old time according to the commercial. It's like it's fair game on everything. And I just want to caution people, and as follow up on what you're saying, it's not what it appears to be. And be careful as always, but I know we're going to have some problems, so.
And to speak to your 2 points, the Shank Avenue exit, we ask people to be, just be patient.
Be patient,
This
yes.
is an event that's gone on for the last 53 years. Many people in the community enjoy it. We understand that it does inconvenience folks in those neighborhoods, and we try to keep those inconveniences to a minimum. But as you're moving in and out of that corridor in Shank Avenue, the police officers there will let you through as they can in breaks in the parade. We have a very limited time that we can do the parade because PennDOT only gives us a permit for a certain amount of time.
Yep.
So just please be patient and cautious in that area. And then with the fireworks as well, there are penalties to it. If you're caught violating one of those pieces of the state law, you can be fined with up to a $100 fine plus court costs as a non-traffic citation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Solicitor Communications, Mr. Shaw, anything for us this week?
Nothing on my end.
All right. Good news. Anything else for the good of the order, gentlemen? All right. Citizens to be heard. Would anyone like to address the board this evening? Sir, if you please sign in at the podium and state your name and address for the board.
My name is James Jones. I'm a resident of the Sunnymead subdivision on West 40th. And back when Sue Weber was supervisor, we had started talking about when is West 40th going to receive some attention on the roadway. Her response to me is it's on a 2-year plan. They're starting at 43rd Street. And every other year, they're going to hit 42nd, and then 2 years later, 41st and 40th. Okay. Last fall, Mr. McGrath said, Jim, you're number 2 on the list. There's a project over off of Perry Highway. It might not get funded, but you're in the springtime, you're there. It's almost July. Nothing. Now, as an Army colonel, I always considered my word as my bond. Maybe I'm a little foolish, but when I'm told something by a township supervisor, I hold you to the same standard. And I think the citizens of Millcreek have the right to do that. West 40th really has not had any attention at all. We have fantastic berms. Some of them are 8-foot berms because there's no roadway. It's like running over a washboard. The roadway is crowned. Last year, I ended up spending probably close to $60 to buy some coal patch down at Lowe's, just so when I go out on a fire call, I'm not bottoming out. So I need a firm commitment. I mean, I don't want fall that comes and then have somebody say, hey, well, you know, it's too nasty weather. We can't do anything. I mean, there's spills on both sides of West 40th. I don't know what other work needs to be done on those. The spills between Winchester and Falmouth were both rebuilt this year because they're falling apart. So I'm not really sure what needs to be done, but we really need to have some attention done.
Well, Mr. Snyder, do you want to comment on that, or would you like one of the board members to start with commenting on that? Because I can address one of the issues. So you mentioned a list, and I'm relatively new to the board. I came on board back in 2016, and what I can tell you, one of the things I was very surprised about for Scott here is that there really wasn't a set list. The list changed with the whims of supervisors. So one of the first things we did as a board was we actually started formally adopting that list back in 2017. So that list was approved, was published on the website. It was actually adopted by the board just for that exact reason, so residents could hold us accountable. So you could actually see, look, you guys said you're going to do this, and you need to do it. And so I think with that kind of direction, Mr. Snyder and his team delivered on the entire paving list in 2017 with no delays. One of the challenges from last year, and Gary, if I'm wrong on this, please correct me. I believe there's a new storm sewer project that's being installed on West 40th.
Yes, there's, my understanding, maybe Matt can address this more so than I can. I don't think it's one solid structure project out there.
I think they're
Several
filling in
pieces
gaps.
that fill in the gaps. Where those gaps are, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you tonight.
And I
It's
believe-
not one project from one end to the other.
And that may have been a project that was scheduled for last year that did not get completed as a storm sewer project. So this year with our paving plan, we actually, in addition to approving a paving list to be held accountable to, we've also added the stormwater list to give clear direction and expectations. So the document we approved this evening, earlier today, was an amendment to that. And on that list is a storm sewer project for 40th Street, which is to be completed this summer.
It'd be somewhere probably closer to fall, but it
Probably,
would
yeah.
start in the summer.
And then that road is on the list to be paved, and you can see it online. I can print a copy out for you this evening, if you like. The road will be paved the following year. So in 2019, West 40th is on the paving list, and this year there's a storm sewer improvement project that's going to be scheduled. Essentially, and again, if I'm wrong, Mr. Snyder, we're in the middle of kind of a paving season now, so the storm sewer project's tend to get done once our crews are done doing all the paving, because they can do storm sewer work a little later than they can paving due to PennDOT regulations about asphalt. Is that a fair statement? So I do apologize if you've been waiting. A lot of folks have been waiting a long time, but I can assure you that we're doing things a little different in the last few years. We're formally adopting these project lists and giving the staff clear direction on what needs to get accomplished, and they are delivering. So.
Yeah, so it's just kind of disheartening, see some of the roads that are being reclaimed that really don't need it. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but you take a look at it. And of course, some of those roads are in a high tax area. I understand that. But we pay taxes too.
If I can address that.
Yes.
As far as the tax part of it, that is the reason we started adopting this program 2 years ago. Because quite frankly, it doesn't matter how much you're paying taxes or anybody else pays the taxes. A bad road is a bad road.
Right.
That's the attitude that we've adopted here. So I'm not taking offense to it or anything like that.
No,
But we're just, we don't do it that way anymore. I mean, it was politely called political paving before.
Yeah.
And thanks to direction from the board, we've gotten away from that. And the 40th Street project is on the books. Like I said, we're in the middle of just starting up our paving. But last year we were able to get things done just a little bit quicker through some different programs. And that will be started at some point this year, so that it'll be paid next year.
Yeah, and Gary, I realize, what you're up against too. But, we, every time you go over that road, it just,
It's a tough road. I drive it quite frequently, to be honest with you.
and also would like to have my neighbor come over.
And sir, if you wouldn't mind signing in and stating your name and...
My name
address
is
for the record.
Bob Nielsen. I live at 3448 West 40th Street.
Yep.
Let me finish signing this.
How you been?
Lousy. Really lousy, because all I'm getting is head shake. Mr. Bach, to bring you up to date on this project.
Didn't we meet with you earlier?
Pardon?
I could have sworn did we do a site view?
I
with you?
can't hear you.
I thought our department met with you for a site view a few weeks ago about the project.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I was questioning you about my lower driveway to my garage.
Right.
But getting to his project, this project was started probably 12 years ago. Am I right or wrong?
I'll be honest with you, I'm just in this position for 2 years. So
Okay, so you go back in the records, they started this project on 43rd Street. Ran the storm sewers.
Yeah.
Next year, went to 40, I get a lot of head shaking.
Yep.
This head shaking don't do me any good. All I'm getting is smoke blowing up my tailpipes.
Okay.
But, I know you don't like to hear it, but that's the way it is. I've been here 4 years, and that's all I get. This project started on the 43rd. We're supposed to go to 42nd, to 41st, to 40th, and 39th. It stopped at 41st because they screwed up the paving process on it. They had to repave it 2 or 3 times. And that was probably, 4 years ago? 5 years ago? At least. Died right there. The project died. I got a neighbor down the street. Every time it rains, his yard floods out. And I showed Mr. Morgan. I took pictures of the last rainstorm. But, I finally got Jim to come up and say something, because he's in the worst section. I don't care, because I live on a hill, and you know the old saying about living on a hill. My gripe right now is my lower driveway. They put 2 houses across the street from me. Township made Palermo put a retention pond and run a sewer out to 40th Street. Went down to Concord, tapped into the line coming down Concord. Now, it's my understanding, this, when they do a project like that, it wasn't the township that did it. You had a contractor did it. They have to reclaim that to the way it was. Now, I come out of my driveway, pull a trailer out of there, I bottom out. I pull my boat out of there, I bought them out. And all I want, I don't care what you do with the rest of the road. Come up, or I'll bring my trailer down here, and I'll get cold patch. I'll shovel it on, and I'll have the news watching me shovel it. Doesn't matter to me. I hate to be like this, but it's the way it is,
Yeah, and gentlemen, I did meet with
I had
Mr.
Mr. Moore, I had you up there.
I met with him along with Ann Sokol and Rob Donikowski with the
I
road.
believe it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, I met with them too.
3 years ago.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
Okay, I've lost track of
And then
And Rob and Ann,
McGrath came up. Well, he promised first thing on the list for the, next year. Yeah, well, next year came and went, and I wasn't on the list.
well, and
You know-
part of the discussion, these gentlemen are right. West 40th is in terrible shape.
yes, it is.
It is on the list to be fully,
Like many streets
to
we
be
have here,
built
they're in
and paved.
deplorable condition, yes.
And then you're sitting there, you're talking about doing the project on Peninsula Drive, 8th Street, and you can't, I've been paying taxes here. We've been paying since 1957. I'm a half a mile from this building. And it's shameful. I'll ask any one of you to take a ride right up there, go across Daretania, go across 40th.
I did,
from
sir.
Concord
I
to
went up there with you.
Lancaster.
I was actually on site with you and talked to you
Take-
about it.
take 'em
and-
all
and
for a ride up
And
there.
I told you specifically at that time that the challenges with Millcreek Township's roads is political paving, Mr. Snyder talked about.
Smoke. That's all smoke.
Okay, well, I'm sorry
In
you feel that
my
way.
opinion, it's all smoke.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Because it's been 4 years.
Okay.
Right, I've been here 2, and Mr.
I
Grove's been here
understand
barely
that.
4, and
I
Mr. Knox
understand
been here
that.
about 6 months.
Okay.
So we're trying to
It
do it
shouldn't
better.
be.
Okay, Gary, just to reiterate, Gary, storm sewer project is for this year?
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
What's it gonna cost to mill that road? Just mill
Okay.
it. It'd be 10 times better mill
Okay.
than what it is right now.
Okay. Sir, the way I see this is that if we were to do anything on that right now without putting any storm sewer into it, it would be like painting over rust. That's what it does.
Well,
That's why we've had the
like I
conditions
said,
on
you
many
do
of
what
these
you want
roads.
with it. All I want is I want something done with my lower driveway. If you gotta bring cold patch up there, bring it up. It should have been done when that project was done for that storm sewer. It should have been finished by the contractor. Now, I don't know if the township has people that check on these contractors, but there I am. And they tell me, well, you can't bring a trailer down here and get stuff out of the yard. Well, watch me, because I'll do it. So that's my thing. Fix my driveway, and I don't care what you do with the rest of the road. Let Jim take over the battle. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments of the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn at 7:43.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.